Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents G.I. Joe Tuesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with G.I. Joe Classified Series number 93, Cobra Snow Serpent. Let's get into it! Let's begin with a look at the packaging. And here we have on the top, 4 and up. Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. G.I. Joe Classified Series, of course the G.I. Joe and the stripes are embossed. And then on the front, we have a nice product shot of the figure in action, which I'm sure is a practical photography rather than digital render. Then we have some digital renders of the accessories. Some nice artwork here. G.I. Joe Classified Series. Again, the G.I. Joe and the stripes are embossed. The embossing goes around with the stripes on this side. Classified Series not embossed. Cobra Snow Serpent. Cobra! And Hasbro print on the bottom. Small print, fine print, legalese print, made in China print. Symbols I'm not going to learn. And a barcode. On this side, some more of that nice Snow Serpent artwork. And it looks really, really cool. G.I. Joe Classified Series number 93. Then on the opposite side, Cobra. And that same artwork, only smaller and in a different tone. Number 93. Here is the QR code. And I'll hold it here for a second if you want to scan that. You can pause it if you need to. There we go. And then here's his skill sets down here. Then on the back, number 93, Cobra. And then Cobra Snow Serpent. He stands 6.4 inches or 163 millimeters tall. And this nice digital render of the figure and all his accessories, and then some close-up shots of some stuff. There's his skill sets again. Attention! Don't stick things in your French pie hole that don't belong there. ParentsGIJoe.com! Warning! Attention! Achtung! Don't stick things in any language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Small, fine, legalese, made in China print. Symbol I'm not going to learn. Another symbol I'm not going to learn. And a symbol we all know. Hasbro print. That, my friends, does it for a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And first up, he does come with a set of snowshoes, just like the original, but these are not like the originals. These are a more modern take on it and not the tennis racket look. So they do have nice molded details in them and they work nicely. You can see it's got some treads there on the bottom of it as well, and that goes for each piece. And the way they work is the toes slide in here, and then this post right here goes in the port on the bottom of the foot. Next up, he does have a knife, and we have handy dandy tweezers here to help us take a look at some of the smaller stuff. It's molded in black plastic. I believe we've seen this in the line before. It does have some nice molded details there in the handle. No storage for it though. Next up, he comes with a set of pistols. And they're realistic, modern looking weapons. He comes with 2 of these. They're both just alike. Nice molded details, all molded in black plastic. Here is the other one. So overall, very nice little piece. Next up, we have the, I like to call it the Cobra machine gun. And we've seen this a couple of times in the past. It does have a port in the end for blast effects. Nice little scope on it, and nice little kind of grease gun type design to it. And do the pistols have blast effect ports? The pistols also have ports in the end of them. I didn't check that. So nice molded details, again all molded in black plastic. The magazine is removable, so that's a cool little piece. Next up we have his rifle, which is a very modern looking piece, and it's got a, I don't know if it's a grenade launcher or a shotgun. The way it's the far back from the other end of the barrel, I would guess it's a grenade launcher and not a shotgun. So it's a very modern looking piece. It's got some realistic details in there as well. And I don't know, this could be based off of a real gun, I'm not sure. I don't really keep up with it that much anymore. There's a port in the end of the barrel and the port down here as well for blast effects. All molded in black plastic, and the magazine again is removable. So let's talk about the backpack. And then, you know, I mean, it's an okay backpack. It's got these two brackets down here at the bottom for carrying the launcher, and I'll show how that works in a minute. It does come with 4 missiles. They are all loose and they do all fit in here. So nice molded details on these, and I'm pretty sure we've seen these in the line before. Maybe even the backpack. Bazooka maybe? If Bazooka doesn't have the same backpack, it's very similar. So lots of molded detail here on the back side. All those little rivets. It does have a post here where it plugs into the port in his bag. It's got a nice pop of color right here for the bag. So that's pretty cool. Next up we have his rocket launcher, and of course this piece here on the back does come off, so you can put a missile back here if you want to. You can put it sticking out the end here if you want. Again, I think this is a piece that we've seen before, like maybe with Bazooka, maybe, I don't remember. So, but it has a post on it so you can kind of twist it open. Instead, in the back of it, it does, hey, get back on there. There is a port in there, so I'm guessing that blast effects can also be used with that. It's got this nice color pop to it, this padding, and other than that, you know, it's the same as what we've seen before, and it does work with the existing rocket effects. You just pop that in there and you can leave it like that, or you can stick one of the missiles on the end of it as well. It's a little bit heavy for this piece though, the blast effect, not the rocket. The blast effect is too heavy, so we just slide that back in there, set that off to the side. Next up we have the, oh lord, what is this called? I want to say jet ski. It's not a jet ski, it's a ski board. Duh. So on this side it's got a nice Cobra Tampo logo on it. It's in the whites, grays, and blacks. Or not really white, it's kind of an off-white, isn't it? And then on the bottom of it, it's got this Arctic digital camouflage on it, along with the, does it go this way? No, this way. Snow Serpent logo. Or at least the one these guys are using. And then the way this one works, the posts there just go into the ports on the bottom of the feet. Next up we have the hood, which is a wolf pelt, and I have to say it's got some nice molded details, and it's got a little bit of paint apps here on the top to give it a kind of a, like they're darker on the back kind of look. Nice look there for the face. You got some gums and teeth You got the paws. There's some nails painted on the paws there. So a neat looking piece. And then here is the rest of the pelt, which does have a post on it right here that ports into the hole on his back, and then it comes around his shoulders. And again, it's got nice molded fur details. And then again, you can see it's got a little bit of a wash or spray or paint app, deco app of some kind to give it that dark look, to where it kind of, you know, it doesn't really match up to that, but this and this matches. This just doesn't look like it comes down far enough, but that's maybe just me. And then the last accessory are his goggles, and I have to say they have a nice cool look to them. I like the paint app for the lenses, and it does have nice molded details on the goggle part and the band as well. And we'll get to how that works in just a minute. Let's take a look at the figure real quick though. So I have to say this guy looks pretty cool. I think the mold is really, really good. The colors, of course, are a bit dark, and everybody said that. That's why they turned around and did the retro release with the brighter blues on it. But for the most part, it's a very classic looking Snow Serpent, at least in, you know, my opinion. I do think there's some, like, this bulky suit is Snow Job reuse. Now, like the pieces here, like with the straps, this crotch overlay piece is probably a new piece, along with the hands. These fur pieces here are overlays that are glued into place, I think. Yeah. And then the shoulders are molded on there. This piece right here is a separate piece that is glued into place. You can see where it's kind of off there by the port. And it's parts, I want to say it's probably glued to this overlay piece here too, which again harkens back to the classic guy. He's got these painted zippers on either side. He's got this Cobra logo tampo here. He's got this Snow Serpent tampo here. There's all kinds of color going on in the face. And then there's a pop of color right there. And then you can see his straps, silver for his crotch protection. Seems like that would get kind of cold in the Arctic conditions this guy is most likely going to be in. He's got two thigh holsters, one on each side, and they're just overlays that slide up the leg and hold into place by friction. And then there we have the boots, and again, that's probably new, but it could be Snow Job reuse, I don't know. Let's take a look at his articulation real quick. He looks up that far, which is pretty good. Down that far, which is really good. He's got chicken neck. He's got waggle and attitude. He can do the full exorcist. And again, with that neck being a separate piece, you have to watch for it. It drifts with the head sometimes, or just partially with the head. At the shoulder, he's got butterfly. Goes back that far, goes forward that far. 360 degrees worth of rotation. And he can straighten his arm out to about 90 degrees there. There is a cut at the upper bicep, 360 degrees of rotation there. Double hinged, pinless elbow. Ow, that fur poked me. But anyway, the elbow gives you that much bend. Then at the wrist, 360 degrees of rotation. And this one is on an up and down hinge. This one is as well, so that's pretty cool. Now let's see, does he have an ab hinge? No, I don't think it's a hinge. I think it's a ball joint in the upper torso. Not a ball joint, a dumbbell. And it's a cut where the chest and the abdomen meet, so He also has a half dumbbell or ball joint here at the waist, and working in conjunction, those two allow him to lean back that far. He can lean forward that far. He can lean left and he can lean right. And he does have full 360 degrees worth of rotation at the waist. There is some rotation in that upper cut. So that's pretty neat. Pull down hinge at the hips. It allows him to give you that much of the splits. Almost there, buddy. It's these bulky clothes, I know. It allows him to kick forward that far. It allows him to kick back that far, so that's actually pretty good, especially with this bulky suit. Cut at the upper thigh, 360 degrees of rotation there. Double hinged, pinless knee, and it gives you that much bend. The sculpt kind of gets in the way of that, and the overlay there may a little bit, but it's not enough to really make that much of a difference. There at the lower shin, just above the ankle, there is a boot cut, and it's a tight one, but it does give you 360 degrees worth of rotation. And then at the ankle, it tilts down that far. Wow, that's tight. It tilts up that far. And then it does have a pin for rocker, and you can see his holster decided to come loose. So you just work that back into place. Now let's take a look at the storage options. So first of all, let's put his goggles up here so he's got them within reach if he needs them. Then his pistols just go in the holsters here on his thighs. So there is that. The knife has no storage as far as the snowboard goes. Again, you just port the posts into the ports on his feet so he can stand on that. And let's see. The guns, there's no real storage for the other guns, the rifle type guns. So he just kind of has to hold those. So there's that. And then we'll put his backpack on him with all his missiles in place. And then the rocket launcher stores, you see this rail right up here, or handle right up here. You hook it into those L brackets on the bottom of the backpack. And there you have it, my friends. That's how the standard storage would look. Now, if you kind of want to deck him out a little bit, you put the snowshoes on him and the wolf pelt and all that good stuff. He still has to hold the stuff he has to hold, and he still has no storage for his knife. But there you have it, my friends. Kind of both looks for the figure, the accessories, the storage, all that good stuff. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the G.I. Joe Classified Series Snow Serpent with the G.I. Joe Classified Series Arctic Battle Android Trooper, or BAT, and the G.I. Joe Classified Series Snow Job. Here we have the G.I. Joe Classified Series Snow Serpent with the Valaverse Action Force Swarm Trooper with Swarm Gear and the Valaverse Action Force Scarab. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the G.I. Joe Classified Series Deluxe Snow Serpent and how he compares up with some other lines. First up, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. Our final Classified Series comparison, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison, from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final ramblings on the G.I. Joe Classified Series Deluxe Snow Serpent, Cobra Snow Serpent, by the way, if you didn't know that. I have to say, this is okay for a deluxe pack. And it does mix the classic design with some modern color elements, I guess I should say. Plus, the Tampo with the Snow Serpent logo on it. Then, they added the wolf pelt jacket to it, which is, it's kind of cool. It sucks that it's not soft goods, but it's Hasbro, so it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Now, I was disappointed that they just reused a rocket launcher rather than giving this guy the mortar that he should have had, like the original release. And then to compound the issue, they did that retro card release, and he didn't have a mortar either. So, I don't know what you guys are thinking there at Hasbro sometimes. I don't think anybody does. Saving $1 probably. It's what goes through the company's head. But, again, the mold is good. I think there's reuse from Snow Job, which makes sense because these guys are wearing, heavy Arctic coverall type gear, and that's pretty much what all the Arctic guys kind of wear. So it makes sense for that, and I like that. I would not have purchased 2 of these had I known that they were going to do the retro card release. I guess I should have guessed that, but back then, who really knew that the retro card thing was going to catch on and be a subline of the series, and still it's kind of a crapshoot as far as trying to guess which figures are going to get that retro card release. At this point, I would have to say probably all of them are going to get that retro card release once they run through Classified, or, I think you get what I'm saying. As Classified starts winding down, they're going to reuse those molds more and more in the retro line with more of a retro color and look, more so than what they're doing now. And I do like the retro line. I do appreciate it. But sometimes the Classified version, even though it's a little more updated, works for me just as well. Like Rock and Roll, you know, I was disappointed in the Classified Rock and Roll because he had that two-tone shirt on, but in the long run I think it looks better than the retro card. Not necessarily the two-tone shirt, but the figure itself overall. So that was one that I did pass on. I may eventually go back and get it just to kind of try and get all those original dudes in the green, all green. But at this point, that's not something I'm looking to do. But this guy, I even passed on the retro version of this guy because, again, he didn't come with that mortar. Yes, I think the lighter blue does look better on it. And had I known that was coming down the pipeline, I wouldn't have gotten two of these guys. I would have just got one where he could be like the officer, and then maybe a couple of the retro carded ones to be his subordinates. But I jumped the gun. I bought two of these deluxe releases. But that's okay. But that just means I have one of each style, I suppose, and can pack them out like this on the shelf. We'll probably replace the ski board with the snowshoes for the more normal Snow Serpent there, because it's just not an accessory I personally care about. I understand, you know, they threw it in there. They needed another piece for, you know, deluxe count piece. But I would have been just as happy had they just given the snowshoes and reused snow job skis. Even though, you know, I'm not complaining about reuse. I'm not, because it's going on here. What irked me about this set is the fact that they reused a rocket launcher instead of giving him the correct weapon. But that's just me. Some folks that may not bother. I know there are some folks that it does bother, but you know, it didn't bother me so much. I didn't buy this deluxe set, but it did bother me enough that I did not buy the retro set. So, well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.